What is going on? I want to thank you for coming to Vape with a Viking. So today, I got something a little different for you. Getting back to some MTL roots here. We have from eXvape the eXpromizer V4 MTL RTA. So little 23 millimeter 2 mil capacity German made MTL. This was in my opinion kind of like a sneaker. You didn't hear really anything about it. The UK market had a couple hits here and there with it, but overall, at least the states that I know of, didn't hear much about it. Didn't get a lot of attention. So it was literally on an American site in a clearance bin. So I had to grab it because I do like an occasional MTL. And what I'm running in it, what I always run in MTLs pretty much, is some Cgen, or I like to mess with Subaru Nerd Vapes and call it Singen, Tortoise on ice from Cgen. It's got kind of like it's really hard to describe. I wouldn't say I get a different flavor every single time, but it's got a little bit of spearmint. It's got a little bit of almost like a bubble gum to it. It's just a really good kind of all day vape. It is 6 milligrams, and that's one of the main reasons I use it for MTL. I don't do the really ultra high, like 12 and 18 milligram juices. It'd just be a little too much for me because I'm a heavy chain vapor. So 6 is good, and I use like 24 and 25 nic salts in my pod systems because I only take 1 or 2 vapes off there and I'm done with those. So this is a really good level for me, and it's a really good flavor, and I've used it enough that that's what I use in my MTL reviews because I know when it tastes good and when it tastes bad. And what we got the V4 on today is my first DNA ever. Stole it back from the wife, but is a Lost Vape DNA Mirage, or Lost Vape Mirage DNA 75C. So got it in a replay mode there. 22 watts. I do have a stainless steel fuse Clapton in there. It's the Vandy Vape ones, the micro ones for MTL. But yeah, lots of interesting little things in there. Good amount of flavor. But we'll get into pros and cons after, of course, the dive down. And you know it's coming. Vikings Advocacy Minute. Like I tell you every single time, you do not have to be involved, but please be informed. Knowledge is power. If we wake up tomorrow and vaping is gone and there are people out there going, I had no clue, there's no excuses. It's everywhere. It's on social media. I mean, it's anywhere you go digitally, you're going to find something. So sign up to those sites. CASA, Not Blowing Smoke. I have a couple other links in all my descriptions as well for different sites as well. And there's tons of them out there that I'm not even probably aware of or highlight. Go on to Facebook. There's just tons and tons of things out there. So please take a look. Lots of issues out there. Bans here, still flavor bans there. The PTMA. Luckily, we got some fight on that though. And of course, look at South Australia. Bogan's Backwoods is completely decimated. Bearded Viking has said before, even South Africa is being attacked. Realistically, UK and New Zealand, they're the only ones really on this entire planet not getting attacked. So hopefully, it's a stretch. If we can all get involved and push it, we can get our local government to look at the UK studies. That right there is just the tremendous amount of data we need pushed out there. So, but enough of that, since I think it was over a minute. Sorry. We'll get back onto this little MTL RTA. But yeah, show you the ins and outs. Show you kind of how this, I'll have a pop-up show up to show you kind of airflow. It's a little different. Nothing too wild going on, but you can definitely tell there are some interesting things going on. So let's drop the hammer on the eXvape.
All right, so what I got for you today is the eXpromizer. I can never say that right. But by eXvape V4 professional atomizer. So it's going to look kind of like some MTL RTAs you've seen, a little older, kind of like almost like the K-Fun series and stuff like that. So that's the front of the package here. On the side, you got nothing, and then you do have a QR code here, and that is for your authenticity. And then on the back, you're going to have, it's a 2 mil capacity, have the black finish, your serial number, some warnings, and some of the eXvape's info right there. All right, and on the box, you're going to have eXvape there, nothing else. Little cutouts. And then on the inside, you're going to have your user manual. And then here are some optional parts. You can get some extension kits to it to increase it to 4 mil. And then there's kind of the breakdown of it. Does look like there's a lot to it. The biggest thing I could tell you with this is, of course, break all your devices down first. Get them clean through an ultrasonic, hand clean. But this one, you have to. Not only do you have to take it apart and clean it, not because of cleanliness reasons, but because when you get this guy, I actually had to send the first one back to where I bought it because there is a juice flow control ring down here at the bottom. But then when you grab the knurling, you're supposed to be able to spin it and this whole deck will come out. Well, see, and it already did that. So, and I lubed it up. So I know with some time and build in it, it's not this hard. But these O-rings that are in here, on all of the O-rings on this device, are machined so well. Like the tolerances of the tank and everything are so fine that when these O-rings are dry, and these even have a little bit of VG put on them already, stuff will stick, stuff will be difficult to come apart, and you're going to have a horrible time dealing with this guy. So when you get it, take it all apart. Make sure that when you are trying to spin it off of there, the base deck, it's the knurling that comes out and you're not just spinning the juice flow control, because that is what messed me up. I ended up messing up the 510, sent it back, and they were super cool with the place that I got it from, and they exchanged it for me. But definitely tear this apart, ultrasonic in it anyway, and then get everything cleaned off so you can lube up every single O-ring in this. But so in the box, you are going to come, it's going to come pre-installed with the Ultim glass or Ultim section. You do get an actual traditional glass in the box, and you will get O-rings, you will get deck screws, all that good stuff. You get the little screwdriver, and you will also get what's called a black palm. And what a palm tip is, if you're not used to 510s or MTLs, a palm tip is one that actually unscrews from the 510 itself, the 510 drip tip. So if you don't like Ultim, you can just put on a black palm, and the black and the glass will look okay. I'm going to keep the Ultim on there because Ultim doesn't bug me, and I'm going to keep the Ultim glass section in there. So it'll be a nice little match. So you do have an 510. It's a very tight draw too on the drip tip. And then across the top, you are going to have your airflow. So on that airflow control, there's a little bit of VG in there still. I'm still working the VG through this before I even have tested it. But even these O-rings are super tight. So, but you'll see it's lock one direction and then open to the other direction. And that's fully open there. Take and pop that guy off so you can probably see this a little bit better. And you'll see all the air holes in there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all together, all the same size, which are, I think, right around 0.5 millimeter. So this thing is definitely mouth to lung only. And then on the back here, kind of hard to see, there's a little notch, because your airflow control ring will have, it's really hard to see on this black, but it has just this little tiny groove into it that makes it lock one way or the other. But again, even lubed up a little bit, I didn't go real heavy with it, the O-rings are still very dry and everything is just very tight. So definitely clean this guy, and then saturate as much as you can without pouring VG all over it. But yeah, definitely be very liberal with all the O-rings and VG. And then once you start using it, of course, the juice itself is going to start lubing everything up. So, but that is your fill holes. Pretty decent sized kidney shaped fill holes for the whole size of the entire tank. It is 2 mil. Now it shows you the inlet size there. And then we'll get down into it a little bit farther, and you'll see how this just keeps getting tighter and tighter as an MTL. Because then when you unscrew the top off, it will have O-rings on it as well. So lube up those O-rings too. O-rings everywhere. Lube all of them up. But then on the chimney section, you'll have EX on one side and everything else just very plain. But if you look, there's your chimney section. This thing is a very, 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 very tight draw MTL. And then on here, you'll see you have a juice flow control, and when you spin this guy, you'll see there's one hole there, then another, and then an even bigger one. So the really nice thing about this thing so far is if you're running like a 50-50 juice, you can close that down to one hole because it's going to flow through easier. You can even run a 70-30 juice, and if you have to, you can run that guy wide open. And those thicker juices will still make it into your deck and wick really well, which is actually a really good feature. So on the bottom, you're going to have eXvape, your serial number. You have a gold-plated 510 protruding pin. So this is hybrid safe if you want to use one of the like mouth-to-lung tubes, like the Cthulhu tube, or Stan is coming out with a mouth-to-lung mechanical as well. So after you've had this all looped up and make this a whole lot easier, there is your base deck. Very basically simple base deck. You just have your 2 Phillips head screws in there, and then you're just going to have your airflow here. Very small, very simple, very almost K-Fun-esque looking or Berserker looking simple MTL. And then here's your juice flow control. As you see, that's where your wicking will go down into. So it'll go down into each side here. And then if you're running a 50-50, it'll just have that little hole to travel through, or if you open them up, it can travel through all of those holes if you wanted to. So very plain, very simple. So not a too whole much to it. Not a whole lot to it. MTLs are very easy. Usually, sometimes there's some complications or learning curves when it comes to like the juice flow control, or like this guy lubing everything up was was a huge curve. So what we're gonna do is throw a build in it, and I'm actually gonna use some super fine MTL. Barbie uses this all the time, but she uses NI80. I found that Vandy has a stainless steel edition, so I'm gonna try that because I'm gonna run this guy in temperature control, and I did make the coil here. You can see it still looks all jankety. And looks like we got roughly a 5 wrap in there, so it should probably come out to probably about a 0.56, somewhere around in there. And then we're going to use some cotton candy cotton in there. Should help it wick pretty quick and easy. And one of my favorite higher nick, it's only 6 milligram juices that I use for MTL a lot, is some Seagen Tortoise on the Rocks. Shout out to Spring Vaping UGA girl. She gave me this a while ago, and she knew I liked MTL, and it's a good little juice for that. All right, and then we're going to run it on the DNA Mirage 75C. So let's get this rolling.
All right, we are back up with the eXpromizer. Always have difficulties with that, and the other one from Steve Crave, but we're back up with the V4. So, couple little, I guess, house cleaning issues. So, some things that I may or may not set a dive down. I actually did the dive down on this weeks ago, and I do have a couple people out there going, "All right, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet?" I just, I'm just enjoying it too much to just to sit here and actually take the time to do the review on it. So yes, overall, you can stop right here if you want to. It's good. Go get one. But let's listen to some of the details. So it is a 2 mil capacity. It comes in 3 different finishes. You have the black. They do have what's called a polished, which is just the stainless steel, and then they have a brushed, which, in my opinion, is probably one of the coolest gunmetal you'll come across. It's the stainless has been brushed enough and almost tarnished to the fact that it's got like that gray silver thing going on, and it's a really clean looking one. I have not, where I found this, I only found it in the stainless or polished and black. I did not find the brushed, which would be kind of cool, but it goes really well, the black on a black mod. So I thought that looks pretty good at least. But again, 23 millimeter, 2 mil capacity. It is German made. eXvape is a German company. And then they do have available a bubble glass you can buy separate that will make it up to 4 milliliters in capacity, or they even have an extension kit. You can actually make it longer, and it'll give you 4 mils. And with that, you can get either the acrylic or the glass section. But with the extension kit, I do not have that. I'm curious though, because usually with a lot of MTL style RTAs, once you start putting extensions on there, for me at least, I've noticed it starts to kind of diminish the flavor a little bit. Now the extension isn't huge, so it may not affect this one, but you be your own judge. If you want something with a little more capacity, I would say go with the bubble glass. But if you don't mind something taller and want something a little bit cleaner looking, go with the extension kit. Now on here, like I showed in a, pretty sure I showed in dive down, the one of the cool features of this guy is the juice flow control, which you kind of see on camera, but you'll see there's 3 holes. So you have a small one, a medium one, and then a large one. What this does for this thing, which is an amazing pro in my opinion, is normally with MTL RTAs, you want to run like a 50-50 juice or maybe a 60-40 in your ratio. This allows you could run a 70-30, which that's what I run, a 70-30 with the bigger holes open like that. And this has not a problem keeping up with wicking like some MTLs do. So we'll do 22 watts. I'll do a couple chains to show you. And this is just Siegen. It's a 70-30, so check it out. And as you'll see, it's just bubbling. Well, as you can kind of see, but that's how efficient it really is. You almost don't even see the bubbling. So it keeps up with wicking, even if you're a chain vapor, if you're using the juice flow control correctly. So pros, the flavor off this thing is nuts. Like I said, I used the Vandy Vape Superfine, but I used the stainless steel version of their fused Claptons. I've tried it in temperature control. Did amazing things for this juice. I have it in replay mode right now. Did really good things, and even just regular wattage. Did really, really good stuff for the juice. The flavor is on point. But again, make sure your juice flow control is correct. If you have a 50-50 juice and you open it up like that, you're going to flood it quick. But if you have a heavier juice like a 70-30, haven't tried an 80-20, and have it cranked down too low, you're going to get dry hits. So good rule of thumb is, just bigger holes, thicker juice, smaller holes, thinner juice, and you're good. You're solid. Build quality is amazing. One of the things I said in a dive down, the build quality is so good. The tolerances are so precise in this thing. You want to clean this either by hand or ultrasonic when you first get it, and you want to take some just straight VG and lube every single O-ring in this thing. I literally had to send one back because I didn't know what I was, I guess, doing. It was being such a pain that I had actually messed up the 510 on it. So, with that being said, if you buy this thing, tear it apart and clean it like I did. But before you put it back together, lube every single O-ring. Now, since I put juice in it and been vaping on it, that's not going to be a problem. But straight out of the box, this thing has almost zero tolerances in its threading and how it's sealed up, which is good, but could also be bad if you're not careful and you get annoyed and frustrated like I did and end up breaking it. So, but definitely German made. This thing, hands down, I'm going to tell you, this is very K-Fun, not K-Fun clone. We're talking authentic K-Fun style and quality of vape. So we get to a point of, okay, well, how much is it then? Most of the sites I found it is about $30. Now, there are a couple sites out there that were closer to 50, and then of course there were sites out there that were higher than that when it first came out. When it first came out, this was a less expensive version of a K-Fun, but with all of the quality. But we're still talking probably about 60, 65, $70 for an RTA, which in this day and age, that's a little crazy unless you are going to get a K-Fun. Now, this guy, in a lot of states' websites at $30, I actually got it on clearance for like 22. But since I've bought it, that site has went back up to 30. But still, $30 for basically a K-Fun 80, 90, 100, $110 style vape. Come on. I mean, you just can't get past it. So, yeah, tons and tons of pros. And literally, the only con, and like I said, it's subjective, is the fact that everything was so darn tight out of the box. And again, that's not a con. That's just really good quality. So, maybe another con would be, it'd be nice if maybe the bubble glass was included. I know the extension kit, that's something that is normally never put with an RTA. So I get that. Bubble glass would have been nice. But, again, it's just one of those things that this at 2 mils, running a higher Nick juice and actually doing an MTL with it, it's still going to last quite a while. So the bubble glass and extension kit may just not be your deal, but they are available, which is really nice. But yeah, I'd say go buy one. If you don't have one and you want an MTL, go buy one. It is definitely well worth the $30. It's worth, I think, in my opinion, more than that. So, but that is all I got today for the eXvape eXpromizer V4 MTL RDA. That is a mouthful. But I do want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming by to Vape with a Viking, and I'll check you later.